Rich Dad, Poor Dad is one of the best-selling financial books in history, selling over 35 million copies. Rich Dad, Poor Dad tells the story of Robert Kiyosaki and his two dads, his birth father, whom he calls his poor dad, and the father of his best friend, Mike, whom he calls his rich dad. Kiyosaki's poor dad was a highly educated man who worked hard all his life, but never made much money. His rich dad was less formally educated but was a successful businessman. Kiyosaki observes that his poor dad always struggled financially, while his rich dad was very successful. He attributes this difference to the fact that his poor dad simply did not understand money, while his rich dad did. The two dads in the story represent two different approaches to wealth. Poor Dad recommends getting a secure job with good benefits and retiring with a pension. Rich Dad, on the other hand, recommends amassing assets that make money for you, becoming financially literate, and practicing independent thinking. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide which approach is best for you. But remember that wealth is not created by working hard. It's created by owning assets that generate income. So if you want to become wealthy, start by learning how to make your money work for you. Kiyosaki goes on to say that the biggest difference between the rich and the poor is not necessarily how much money they have, but rather how they think about money. He argues that if more people thought like the rich, they would be able to achieve financial success. Before we start with the first idea, make sure to check our app Morfosis after the video. Our app delivers key insights from nonfiction books in easy-to-digest animated summaries. We have a 7-day free trial link in the description below. Also, like and subscribe if you want to see more summaries like this. Idea 1. Don't let fear rule your life. Robert and Mike were two of the poorest kids in school. One day, Robert asked his dad how to become rich like the other kids. His dad didn't have a good answer for him, but he did suggest that Robert talk to Mike's dad. Mike's dad was the rich dad, and he seemed to be doing well for himself, so maybe he could teach them some things about money. When Robert and Mike talked to Rich Dad, they found out that he wasn't born into wealth either. He'd worked hard for everything he had, and he was still working hard today. The Rich Dad told them that the key to becoming wealthy was to start their own business. He'd also said that it was important to be smart with their money and not let others control their finances. With advice from Rich Dad, Robert and Mike started their own business melting down metal toothpaste tubes to make nickels. However, it didn't work out well for them, so they asked Rich Dad for advice again. Rich Dad looked at the two young men in front of him and sighed. He was busy, but he had made time for them early in the morning so that they could have this discussion. "Here's my offer," Rich Dad said. "I'll teach you, but not like a teacher in a classroom. If you work for me, I'll teach you. If you don't work for me, I won't teach you." The two young men looked at each other, then back at Rich Dad. "Can we ask a question first?" one of them asked. Rich Dad nodded impatiently. "No, take it or leave it. I'm too busy to waste my time. If you can't be decisive and make up your mind quickly, you'll never learn to make money. Opportunities come quickly and go quickly. You need to know when to make fast decisions. I just gave you an opportunity that you asked for. Will you take it?" If they take the deal, it means working for 10 cents an hour in Rich Dad's convenience store. They know this is an unfair wage, but they take the deal anyway because they know that they will learn from the rich man himself. But after working for a few weeks and still nothing learned from the Rich Dad, Robert wants to quit. His friend is amused since Rich Dad expected he'd want to quit and wanted to meet afterward. Before the meeting, the poor dad tells Robert to demand a raise to at least 25 cents an hour. If he doesn't get the raise, poor dad counsels Robert Kiyosaki should quit immediately. Kiyosaki takes poor dad's advice and starts the meeting by demanding more money and better treatment. He says that he didn't teach him anything. He also threatens to sue for child labor violations. Rich Dad responds by saying, "Not bad. In less than a month, you sound like most of my employees." Many people take jobs that pay them less than they deserve because of fear. They are afraid of not being able to pay their bills, losing their job, or not having enough money. As a result, they let fear control their emotions around money, and they become slaves to working just to make money. The author's anger showed Rich Dad that he had enough passion and independence of mind to be worth teaching. Rich Dad is pleased and says, "You boys are the first to come to me asking how to make money. Out of all of my employees, 150 people, not a single one has come to me to learn about money. They ask for a job or a bigger paycheck, but they never educate themselves about money. So instead of understanding it, they'll just spend their lives working for it." If you are enjoying this animated book summary, Please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, make sure you check our app Morfosis after the video. We have more animated book summaries in our app. Click the link in the description to download it for free. Idea 2. Don't work for money. Rich Dad tells the author and Mike that they need to continue working, but without getting paid. When Kiyosaki complains, Rich Dad challenges him to either go back to the original deal of 10 cents per hour or look for another job. Rich Dad advises him to use his head. After working for a few more weeks, the kids are confused about what they are supposed to be learning. Rich Dad tells them that there is a lesson to be learned here. If you don't learn this lesson, you'll end up like other people who work hard, clinging to their pay and constantly looking forward to their vacation days and little raises. I'll raise your pay to 25 cents an hour. Does that excite you? Do you want to take it? Rich Dad keeps raising the stakes, eventually offering $1 an hour. The author's imagination runs wild at the thought of having that much money, but he knows he is being tested. Each person has a weak and needy part of their soul that can be bought. Each person also has a part of their soul that is strong and can never be bought. The point of the lesson is that most people get caught in a loop between fear and greed when it comes to money. They're afraid of not having enough, so they work hard to get a paycheck. But then, once they have the money, they spend it all on things they think will make them happy. This cycle continues even as their income increases, and eventually money ends up running their lives. Rich Dad was trying to teach the kids not to let emotions dictate their decisions about money, but rather to think things through carefully. He did this by having them work for free at first, and then gradually increasing their pay. This was meant to show how adults often settle for incremental raises that keep them in the rat race instead of chasing their dreams. Idea 3. Forget the paycheck and get creative. Rich Dad tells the kids that the key to success is to stop thinking that you need a regular paycheck. He advises them to keep learning and working for free, as this will help them to see opportunities that other people miss. The paycheck keeps you safe, and that turns off your brain. You need to find more creative ways to make money. After working for free for a few more weeks, Kiyosaki has an insight. The store he worked in regularly disposed of its comic books. Could they collect the books, then start a comic book library open to the public? They could charge other kids 10 cents admission for unlimited reading, a clear bargain, since a comic costs 10 cents each. With some work, they launched a library with great success. They earn $9 per week over 3 months. They pay Mike's sister $1 a week for managing the store. However, after 3 months, bullies break into the room and Rich Dad suggests they shut down the business. But the lesson was learned. By not being paid, they were forced to find opportunities to make money. They avoided being distracted by the short-term carrot. Idea 4. Rich people don't work for money, money works for them. Most people think that the best way to become a millionaire is to work for a company and aim for a high salary. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. Do you think most millionaires are high-level employees? Of course not. The vast majority of millionaires own businesses or assets that generate income for them passively. This means they don't have to exchange their time for money like an employee does. Instead, they use their time to build an asset that works for them around the clock. Of course, you can't just become a millionaire overnight. You have to start somewhere. This usually involves working on yourself and learning new skills that you can then leverage into a business. Once you have a business up and running, you can then hire and train people to manage it for you. This is why some people make 100 times more money than others. They leverage other people's time. You can also leverage land or technology, but we will cover that in more detail later. The point of this lesson is that you need to stop thinking about how you could make more money by working more hours. Instead, you need to think about how you can make money work for you. This is the key to financial freedom and becoming a millionaire. So, the first step to take if you want to become a millionaire is to start your own business. This may seem like a daunting task, but there are plenty of resources available to help you get started. Once you have a business up and running, you can then focus on building it up so that it generates passive income for you. The more businesses or assets you have that generate income for you passively, the closer you will be to becoming a millionaire. There are many different ways to generate income, so do some research and find out which method would work best for you. Remember, the aim is to make money work for you instead of exchanging your time for money. This is the key to financial freedom and becoming a millionaire. Idea 5. Understand the difference between an asset and a liability. Most people think that a house is an asset, but it's actually a liability because it requires maintenance, repairs, and property taxes, and it doesn't generate income. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. So, when you're looking at houses, don't look at them as an investment. Look at them as a place to live. And if you want to invest in real estate, look for properties that will generate income for you. You can do this by buying rental properties or investing in commercial real estate. The key to financial success is to acquire assets that generate income and minimize liabilities that take money out of your pocket. If you do this, you'll be on your way to financial freedom. Now let's see other forms of assets. There are many different types of assets, but here are a few of the most common. Businesses, rental properties, commercial real estate, investments, stocks and bonds, mutual funds, commodities. Each one of these can generate income for you, and the more assets you have, the more money you'll make. So, if you want to be financially successful, start acquiring assets. But it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. So you have to understand what a liability is. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. There are many different types of liabilities, but here are a few of the most common. Houses, cars, credit cards, loans, debts. If you want to be financially successful, you need to minimize your liabilities. The less money you have going out, the more money you'll have left over to invest in assets, and the more assets you have, the more money you'll make. Idea 6. Schools will not teach you how to be rich. As Rich Dad took Robert and Mike under his wing, they had total access to his private business dealings. This allowed the boys to learn about what it takes to be a successful business owner quickly. However, they began to have problems in school because the skills they were learning from Rich Dad made it difficult to take their studies seriously. The boys were repeatedly told that success and wealth come from hard work and studying, but they did not realize that financial literacy is also important. Many children are not taught about topics like saving or investing, which can lead to poor financial decisions later in life. For example, 50% of the workforce in the United States does not have a pension plan. Kiyosaki's key lesson is that it is important to educate yourself about financial matters and to establish a financial strategy. By doing this, you can become financially literate and make sound decisions with your money. A financial strategy can help you to set goals, stay on track, and make the most of your money. It is important to find a balance between saving and spending, and to invest for the future. Kiyosaki recommends that you start small, but start now. Don't wait until you have a lot of money saved up before you begin investing. The sooner you start, the better. Kiyosaki's advice can help you to take control of your finances and build a bright future. So what are you waiting for? Start learning about financial matters and creating your own financial strategy today. Idea 7. Take risks. One of the biggest changes you may need to make is learning to take risks. In the real world, it's often not the intelligent people who get ahead, it's the daring ones. Being brave enough to take risks is something that all wealthy people have in common. If you don't face your fears, you'll miss out on a lot of great opportunities in life. People who are studious and intelligent often have a hard time financially because they're afraid of what others will think of them if they try to do something different or risk losing money. But success always takes courage, so it's important to overcome your fears if you want to achieve anything in life. Financial intelligence can be reduced to two key components: knowledge and courage. These are what separates the rich from everyone else. Financial intelligence allows people to quickly spot opportunities and have the courage to follow through with them. To the outside observer, it may look like these people are just lucky. However, they are actually creating their own luck by being financially intelligent. In sitting in on Rich Dad's business meetings, Robert and Mike learned that lesson. With financial knowledge and courage, one can spot opportunities quickly and make the most of them. In other words, one can almost invent money. Did you love this book summary? These was just some of the ideas of this book. Watch the full summary in our app. You will also find other book summaries in our app that we don't have on YouTube. Get the knowledge you need without hours of reading. Download it for free from the link in the description and start your growth today. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any new uploads. Thanks for watching.